Hey guys, so Samira bringing you another video and welcome to High Rating Spectate. And today, yes, we are actually watching Doublelift. So I thought I'd log on to North America because we've not done that in a long time. And why not watch one of the most known players in North America, Doublelift himself, playing Samira. So again, my pre-season content, I want to try and cover basically near enough every champion I can with either a high rating spectate that we're zoning in on this champion or me playing said champion. So in the comment section, let me know what champions you want to see in these type of videos, and I'll do my best. But yeah, let's watch Doublelift, and also if there's any players specifically on North America you want me to watch as well, let me know down below, as we can do North America as well. We'll also just again mention that a lot of high rating players are not really playing at the moment. Pre-season is a time that a lot of people don't try hard in ranked. Especially with all the new item updates, people are wanting to learn what these do before tryharding. So a lot of people aren't playing solo queue. If they are playing ranked, a lot of the time it's flex queue. Or they're just playing normal games. Or if they have a main account in Challenger, they're playing on a Smurf account not to ruin, potentially, their main account rank. But obviously Samira, quite a controversial champion, and that is why level 1 all-in onto a Draven. Right now is what I would actually call a positive trade for Doublelift and the Leona, because they got the Draven low, they got his heal for Leona Ignite, and obviously the person that you want to keep healthy and allow them to like have pressure is the AD carry. You want them to be able to farm, and Doublelift right now is going to have free farm. And one thing interesting to me as well is the Draven has gone Cull. Questionable, potentially. Draven is more designed, I would say, to win lane, and yes, Samira was also what you'd consider a lane bully, but Draven is the lane bully, and a Cull is not this crazy good early game item, more like a Doran's Blade is, so that is going to kind of give some pressure away from a Draven's early game, which I'm not a massive fan of. But yeah, Samira, still a very controversial champion, I would say, in the game as a whole. Let me know what you think of her down below. I think, like, she can be balanced to some extent, because the positive of the champion is she does a buttload of damage, but the trade-off is she has to get pretty close in melee range a lot of the time. You know, if you're pressing E to be aggressive, you're getting up close to people, and you can just get killed. And yeah, she does have tools to help against it, like a wind wall and stuff, but I have seen, you know, it's not a free win playing Samira. She's just on the spectrum of strong, she is on the stronger side. I still think if you were to, you know, make this champion more balanced, meanwhile not all in is happening, the Black Shield from Morgana comes down, which does stop the Draven getting CC'd. Level 3 has been hit by the enemy team. Leona flashing on the Draven. Big damages coming through. Draven also flashes. Leona doesn't. Leona take a while to die, and that so far is a 1-for-1. Morgana gets the kill versus Karthus, who got the kill, and yes, it is Karthus jungle. Don't actually know how good Karthus jungle is at the moment. I presume he's fine. You know, AP items are quite strong. I would probably go... Here's the thing. There is one really good item on Karthus. I think it's the Rift Maker one. I think that it's the one that, like, it does individual damage to... You know, it has an individual cooldown per enemy champion that it deals bonus damage. So if you're Karthus ulting, you can... When you press ult, it'll damage extra. All 5 of the enemy champions will take extra damage from the item. The only problem with that is it has no mana. So that might be why Karthus don't do that item. But it'll be interesting to see. And I will say there is a champion off the top of my head that I have seen requested. We will not cover this champion until the upcoming rework for her really is coming. And that's a Nivea. So a Nivea with all the items, updates and everything has been massively hurt by them. Because she was more of a kind of scaling with Roa and tier champion a lot of the time. And obviously that's been changed quite a bit. But she is getting an update, and it looks really good. I like Nivea. Her ultimate cooldown at rank 3, so level 16, is going to be a 1 second cooldown, so she can reposition her ultimate really fast. That looks really cool. So hopefully that will be making the champion more viable, and I will definitely play her when that happens. And also, you might notice in top lane in this game, there is a Warwick top lane. Again, it's not... I wouldn't say it's popular. It's a thing that people are doing because Warwick in a 1v1 is actually quite strong. He does a lot of decent damage and he has insane sustain. So in top lane, he is actually really annoying to get out of top. and even win in 1v1s. I've seen Warwick top lanes win 2v1s because a lot of them, and you can see this Warwick over there, he has taken Barrier. That is the standard thing for Warwick top, because it's just about surviving as much as you can while you're kind of out-sustaining the enemy. It's a bit cheesy, I'll say, but, you know, it's kind of cheesy, kind of not in some ways. I'd say it's as much as a cheese pick as Hecarim top lane is, and some people really like Hecarim top. Alright, so the Leona is down on XP to Doublelift, but that isn't the worst thing in the world. It just means Doublelift is ahead, and if you can use the level 6 advantage when eventually Doublelift hits 6, that will work out quite nicely. They get a kill on Victor in mid lane, the Talon and the Karthus, but during this time, the Nocturne did Dragon, so good for him. I will say, I was actually going to watch another jungler in these episodes, because, you know, when I said, oh, there's players if you want to watch, Panzer Dragon might be one of the ones that people want me to watch. I don't know why, because I did look at his history before I went on Doublelift. He's been spamming co-op versus AI games, so I've got no idea why, but his whole match history is co-op versus AI, playing Misfortune. I don't know if he got, like, some form of punishment, and, you know, you have to play a certain amount of games before you're allowed to play. I don't know if that even exists, so I have no idea. But I was going to watch Pants because, like, he's more of a strategic jungler, and the meta in the jungle right now is a bit weird. You know, you can just play tanks because it's the Sunfire meta, or you play hyper carries. You know, it's one of the two. And Pants is more strategic than hyper carry, so I wanted to see what he did, but yeah, can't. Alright, so obviously Morgana against Leona is quite frustrating for a Leona. Enemy team going to go all in. Doublelift choosing to go all in as well, which was good, but it was maybe a bit too late. Level 6 has been hit for Doublelift, and now Nocturne ulting to top lane, and they do take down the Malphite. But yeah, the Leona unfortunately dies. She went a bit too all in, and the natural counter of, oh, you're going on my Draven, Black Shield, oh, you don't get stunned, and now we bind the Leona as she's overextended. Karthus also dies, by the way, in his own jungle. So the enemy team clearly has a small advantage right now of around 1,000 gold. Bot lane, although, is going quite well for blue team. You know, they're beating a Draven technically in lane. And mid lane's not going too bad. Talon is 2-0, although down on farm. And again, Karthus being 2-1 isn't too bad. So there's the nice reaction time with that W. That obviously Samira herself is quite a good counter to Morgana if you time the W well. AoE clearing with the melee Q. Fast pushing does Samira have. And yeah, what I would say is the last, I believe, 2 AD carries that Riot's released, which has been Aphelios and Samira. Personally, I just think they give options too much for these champions. So like Aphelios, when he was released, he's like every AD carry mixed into one champion, just depending what weapon you're using, right? Because the way that I would balance champions in League is, okay, this champion is a specialist in teamfighting or dueling 1v1s or pick people. Like a champion should have a relative niche, or that's what they kind of go for. Aphelios has all of them, practically. Like, I don't really think of one that he doesn't have. He's got Sustain, he's got Teamfight with a Flamethrower, he's got CC with the Grav Gun, he's got high range like Caitlyn with the Sniper. He's kind of got everything. So that's Aphelios, and that's why he's been hard to balance. And right now, I think he's in a relatively weak state, because the only way you weak a champion with a really strong kit is you nerf their stats, if you're not going to fix the kit. And I think Samira is kind of the same. She does have range. She has all in. Her sustain is really high with her ultimate. Her damage obviously is really high. She's anti-CC. She has CC extension herself with her passive. So I think that's kind of the problem. Then here we go. So an all-in is happening. Doublelift with on top with the Morgana just absolutely annihilates the Draven. And that's just the damage of Samira. And Samira gets a double kill. And that's the type of thing. Like, it didn't even look that hard what they just did. You know, what is an AD carry can willingly jump into melee range and just kind of go, you're dead. That's where just literally talking about the subject now is that these AD carries, the new ones, I think just have too much in their kit that is good. You know, Samira's weakness, if you want to call it that, is the fact that she has to go in melee range. But if a Samira doesn't get CC'd that well, or, you know, you just don't have the damage to kill her right now, she will just straight up kill you. There's not really another AD carry that can do that, because it's not AD carry behavior, right? For a pure AD carry to go in melee range, do massive AoE, and now you're all dead. So I think that's kind of the inherent problem with the champion. Again, to balance the champion, what I would do, well, the damage is crazy, but AD carries, in my opinion, should have crazy damage. What an AD carry shouldn't have, and this might be slightly controversial, an AD carry should not have survivability, because that's their role is the glass cannon, and meanwhile they're going all in again. So this is what Leona can do, by the way. So Leona E's on one target, and then she goes on the other one. So Doublelift flashing, gets the one kill, does get bound, unfortunately. Draven going a little bit all in, but doesn't get it. Samira then can E to a minion to get closer to the Draven. She's ulting, and Draven has to flash. So Leona can E on one target, they black shield the target that Leona E's to, but if you're both kind of standing together, Leona then can Q her stun, the melee stun, the other target that's now not black shielded. So again, to counter Leona as Morgana, you have to be separate. You can't give the option for Leona to E one target and then Q the other because you're standing too close. So do, you know, be separate in bot lane. Alright, so Doublelift going for his first item, which is Immortal Shield Bow. It is the Mythic. This item, again, has great synergy with a lot of AD carries because this does give, obviously, some survivability. And like I was saying, I don't think AD carries should have proper survivability because they're a glass cannon, high DPS, high damage. I think the more problem that people have, and people may disagree, that, oh, you know, AD carries are dying left, right, and center. They are. But I don't think that's because the AD carries need survivability. I think that's more because other things just do too much damage. There's way too much damage in the game right now. Anyway, enemy team did Dragon, so they do have a Dragon advantage right now. The Talon picks up the kill on Morgana. So if the enemy team can hold out, they don't scale badly, and, you know, they are getting Dragon pressure over blue team right now. Victor does go down. I don't know why he tried to take a fight in a 3v1. Obviously, Nocturne himself doing quite well, gone Drakthar this game. But yeah, so far, it's an okay game for blue team. Doublelift's having a nice start. The Talon's not doing bad at all. 5-1. Karthus is 3-1, surprisingly too. And yeah, he actually did it. Night Harvester, is that the one? Yes. Okay, so it wasn't Riftmaker, like I said earlier. It's Night Harvester. So dealing, damaging a champion deals an additional 237 magic damage and grants you movement speed. Forget about that. But it's a 40-second cooldown per champion. That additional damage. So Karthus, with just his ultimate, will be dealing right now. He's ulting now, but he's dealing 312 damage with just the ultimate, and then put the Night Harvester damage on top of it. So already this Karthus ult is doing 500 plus damage per person already. Meanwhile, Morgana roaming up in top lane, not managing to get anything from it. And the enemy team has swapped around some of the champions, probably just trying to survive a bit. But unfortunately for the Draven, there is a Talon who is obviously hungry for a kill. He might die to the dot if he got it off, but I don't think he did. And the Draven will survive for now, and Morgana will probably pick up that Talon kill with the Ignite. So unfortunately, Talon went a little bit too crazy to go for the Draven, and she didn't even get the Draven. Bot lane, though, staying as they are. Or blue team bot lane, and they're killing the tower, which was the... Was that the first tower in the game? Yes, they got first blood tower in bot lane, which obviously is good. Extra gold and all that. Draven, by the way, also picking up his Immortal Shield Bow too. But I am going to do, and I did mention it, I think, in the Fiora one, I am going to do a league discussion relatively soon. Meanwhile, Nocturne ulting doesn't have any mana, but the damage from Nocturne, you can see there, was quite high. I'm going to do a league discussion soon, just talking about the damage in the game. Because there was a very interesting graph that I saw of like damage done on average with champions and damage taken with champions. And you can literally see when the patch got enabled. It just goes up. So that video will come soon. And if you have really, you know, big opinions about how much damage is in the game right now, wait a couple days until I do that league discussion, and then you can kind of give your opinions. And reminding everybody, I am a league partner. I do have access to developers and talking to them and that here or there. And, you know, there's no official Riot boards anymore, so Riot do pay attention to their content creators, especially those who are partnered. And if we're doing a discussion video, I can literally like go, I can ping them and be like, hey, we did this discussion. If you want any feedback about the damage in the game, go look at that video, look at the comment section, and they may pay attention. So that'll be out in the next couple days when I want to record that. So, Doublelift continued bot lane. And I will say, I have watched Doublelift here or there over the years, and he does have, in solo queue at least, he does have a relatively bot lane playstyle. Like, he will just stay bot lane. He'll win his lane and just stay bot. And just annihilate that lane. It's effective in some areas, not effective in others, because you could lose a game if your team's not doing very good. Because like if you're just staying in one lane and your team die all in mid lane, but you could have been there, and because you're fed, you may have been the difference. Well, then maybe you could have been there and carried it. But if your team's not doing too bad, like, you know, the Malphite's having a rough game here, but the Karthus is doing well, the Talon's doing completely fine, and you're winning bot lane, that's where you can get away with this type of playstyle. Anyway, all in happening. Look at that Nocturne damage. And yes, it is a Karthus, but still. Talon going for some damage. Look at the Karthus ult. Boom. Pretty decent damage. And Leona ult coming through. Extended CC by Samira. Leona with the Ignite finishes off the Victor. And they get a bunch of kills there. I think I'm going to do a Karthus episode too. You know, I know we're watching Samira here and talking about her as a champion and her damage and that. But the combination of Night Harvester and Karthus is really interesting to me. And what I will say, you know, part of the conversation about the damage in that in the game, all I will say is I think one of the big things that Riot's done wrong, partially, is they have built these strong items and thought like, oh, only these types of champions are going to buy this item. Like, for example, there is a combo right now, Imperial Mandate and Rylai, that is supposed to be, the Imperial Mandate is a support item. Mid lane mages are buying the item and combining it with Rylai, and it is truly broken. There's a lot of examples of this, you know, that there are items that other types of champions are buying the other mythics for, and it's just crazy, because it kind of feels like Riot was like, oh, yeah, Karthus, you know, he's going to buy Night Harvester. Oh, we didn't think of that. Like, there's a bunch of these examples that are out there, and I think that is part of the issue. And what I will say is, I don't know how long these items obviously have been in development, but it's been a very weird year for all of us, but reminding people, all game developers, you know, making these AAA games as well, not even just League, they're working from home. So it's not going to be perfect work conditions. If you're at the office and you have all the items on a big board all in front of you, it's probably a lot easier to kind of balance it and kind of talk about it than over like a Zoom call. It's going to be harder to get things done and harder to balance, I think, with the current world situation. So you can't forget about that either. Draven going very aggressive, and Doublelift has a two level advantage right now, so I'm a bit surprised that the Draven had a bit more aggression there. Doublelift using his W. Obviously, that is a 30-second cooldown, by the way. So, again, another weakness of Samira is that long cooldown of W. So you have to try and make do of, oh, she used it, let's go kill her now. Which, yeah, it is a long cooldown on purpose. Meanwhile, if you just saw, by the way, the Talon did take out the Warwick, but then I think died after. Yeah, the Warwick, by the way, ignoring mythic items himself. He also has got a tier, which is kind of funny. Nocturne looking for this 2v1 situation on the Karthus. Is he going to get it? Draven ultimate coming down. Malphite trying to keep the Karthus alive. The Karthus, no mana, but does manage to survive just. And that will be an unfortunate and unhappy Nocturne. Leona having a Warwick jump into her with the CC extension. Warwick is definitely in trouble. Samira going to go for it. Leona ultimate on top. Ultimate coming through. Does get feared, but then gets the anti-CC, and then look at that damage. Holy moly. Obviously does have, by the way, went for Mercurial Scimitar, which is the same item. It removes CC. It's the QSS upgrade item. Because, again, Samira, and I know whenever I say this, people go, oh, Huz, every champion is. Samira is counted by CC. Yes, every single champion is counted by CC. But the difference between saying it, like, making it obvious or not, is the same as Alawi. There are some champions in the game that their playstyle kind of is going to get them CC'd. Alawi needs to be in the middle of everybody and slam her tentacles around. Samira has to be in the middle of everybody and ult. So they're more likely to get CC'd. So having anti-CC items for them is very important, because they're going to be in the middle of a team fight looking for this big AoE ultimate. So having a QSS on Samira is a priority. But also, you know, there are also targets that are priority CC targets. If you have a Samira versus even a Talon in this team fight, Samira is the priority target to CC because she has more kill potential on multiple things. Same as Alawi, for example. AoE obviously is team fight pressure. So the Nocturne did ult there, but didn't actually have range on anybody. I think Talon jumped over the wall in time and got away. Leona looking a little bit aggressive. Doublelift gets the big wolf steal from somebody. And now the mid lane tier 2 has started. Malphite now has outscaled the Warwick. Talon gets a 1v2 kill. And that one thing I will also say is the notice thing about Warwick. He does seem to fall off, which he kind of falls off in the jungle as well. It's just the champion. Yeah, his lane phase is really annoying. He takes barrier, for God's sake, to make the lane phase more annoying. But in mid to late game, like a Malphite, and you could argue Malphite's winning because the items, sure. But a lot of other bruisers would probably beat him too. And obviously, Malphite's already got his Bramble, which is going to be anti-healing, and that's quite a big counter to Warwick too. Morgana looking for an engage, is going to actually do a bit of damage. Nocturne coming through as well, goes on the Samira, isn't dead yet as Nocturne gets just straight CC'd, and I just want to point everybody's attention to Doublelift's health. He started the fight less than lower health. He did use heal this game, and he's going in, he gets a double kill. He gets another kill, triple kill, and now he's going on the Warwick, and he gets himself a quadra kill. And he finishes the fight, 2/3 health after that as well. I have mentioned it a couple of times, and the reason why I like mentioning it is because I think it does need to be addressed. Is a lot of us, and you can go back and watch my dev videos pre-season, like pre-season, and Riot was talking about healing, and like, oh, we know it's a problem, we're going to prioritize helping it. Healing is still a massive problem. Because the damage in the game has gone up, the percentage that people are healing has gone up, and 40% anti-healing is not enough. Like right in this game, I don't think anybody has got anti-healing. So because the damage has gone up, the healing's gone up too. And yes, there are 60% anti-healing items now. That isn't enough because the damage has gone up as well. Like, to me, healing is still a massive problem, and it wasn't really addressed to the way that I think it needed to be. And also, we have arguably more healing, I would say, that it's not just lifesteal now. There's Omnivamp, which is healing from auto attacks and spells. There is also Spell Vamp too. There's just more healing in the game. Meanwhile, 2v1 situation in top lane. Malphite actually takes out the Nocturne, and then the Warwick finishes off the Malphite in a 1v2 situation. So what I will say, what's happening for blue team this game, if you notice, most 1v2 situations, blue team is actually coming away with 1 kill. That's massive because you're investing 2 people into something and you're getting relatively an equal result. And the enemy team is actually surrendering. But there is a 10-0 performance by Doublelift as Samira against a Draven. They just owned it. This wasn't really, I wouldn't even say Doublelift built up a sweat this game. But is that because Samira's too strong? Is that because of Doublelift? Is it because there's too much damage in the game with items? And obviously with the item build, by the way, got that shield bow, then has a scimitar, then built Infinity Edge. That's a lot of damage, obviously, in the game. Yes, crit has been nerfed, but a lot of people aren't massive fans of crit in the game either. Crit is not what we call a skill mechanic. It's just autoing, and your autos are just doing a lot of damage. So I think Riot wanted to get away from crit meta, and I think a lot of the player base probably wanted to get away from it too, but there is always going to be backlash no matter what change you make. But yeah, let me know what you think of Samira. Do you think the champion is still a little bit busted? I personally think she is, and I think I've said it forever, they need to get rid of the CC extension. There is no good reason that champion has an extra CC extension. It really isn't. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, throw a like on it, throw a comment, throw a subscribe. See you guys next time. Peace.